We have seen the amazing benefits technology can bring in terms of efficiency and cost savings. We have seen significant improvement in productivity due to adoption of technology as the COVID-19 way of work. NNPC will therefore continue to take advantage of technology, improve process efficiency and performance excellence.
In his remarks, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Chief Timipre Silva, who represented President Muhammadu Buhari at the occasion, lauded the leaders and members of Pengassan for their great role in sustaining the oil and gas industry, which he described as the main driver of the nation's economic development.
Our collaboration will focus on gas to transmute Nigeria from the conventional dependence on white products for prime movers to a cleaner, more available, accessible, acceptable, and affordable energy use in gas.
In his address at the occasion, the outgoing president of Pengassan, Comrade Undukaku Oheri, commended the NNPC management for the strategy it has adopted to revamp the refineries and other downstream infrastructure. On the Petroleum Industry Bill, PIB, Oheri appealed to the government to ensure greater stakeholder engagement to improve the final outcome of the bill before sending it to the National Assembly.
We appeal to the government, especially the technical committee, putting finishing touches to the new PIB to ensure greater stakeholder engagement to improve the final outcome of the bill before being sent to the National Assembly for consideration and passage.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, has announced a total crude oil and gas export receipt of $378.42 million in June 2020, as against $133.16 million it posted in May 2020, signaling a marked improvement in revenue earnings apparently following the ease of the COVID-19 pandemic global lockdown and the subsequent increased demand and firmer prices for the black gold in the international market. The NNPC in the June 2020 monthly financial and operations report stated that the petroleum receipts for the month reflected crude oil earnings of $230.65 million, with gas and miscellaneous proceeds standing at $75.97 million and $71.80 million respectively. The report is the 59th edition in the series. The report, released in Abuja, put total crude oil and gas export receipts for the period June 2019 to June 2020 at $4.60 billion. In the downstream sector, the NNPC monthly report said in order to ensure continuous supply and effective distribution of petroleum products across the country in June 2020, 1.34 billion liters of white products were distributed and sold by NNPC's downstream subsidiary, the Petroleum Product Marketing Company, PPMC, saying the figure was significantly higher than the 950.67 million liters of white products sold and distributed in May 2020, again an apparent reflection of the gradual ease of the lockdown in the country and the picking up of business activities. A breakdown of the June 2020 figures indicated that over 1.3 billion liters of premium motor spirit, PMS, 5.10 million liters of automotive gas oil, AGO, and 1.65 million liters of dual-purpose kerosene, DPK, were sold and distributed during the period.
Good evening and welcome to the feedback segment of the program. My name is Faith Ayuba. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, was recently enlisted as a partner company of the Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, EITI, joining a group of over 65 extractive companies. On the segment today, we bring to you views of the impact of NNPC's enlistment as an EITI partner company.
And being a part of any EITI is going to give a global new interpretation to what NNPC is going to be going forward. You can't do this business unless you attract investment. And if NNPC is going to not have to depend on budget and then be able to attract investors to buy into their project. I think this will give them the type of credit worthiness, because the issue is being transparent.
What this means is that NNPC is now ready and willing to open its books, open its operations for wider scrutiny and for operations. And the benefit is huge. There will be investment trust. More companies, more countries will trust the NNPC, and the NNPC will become a bigger player in most EITI member countries, because they will now become one of the EITI brands. And it has a lot of benefits in terms of investment, in terms of public trust, in terms of better environment to do its business.
The corporation and Nigeria, by extension, is committing to greater transparency, and this will have an effect on contract transparency, commodity trading transparency, beneficial ownership, and all of those values that the EITI stands for.
When we had that information about the EITI naming NNPC as one of its 65 international partners, as a group, we were very, very elated about the news because of the work that the present management in NNPC is doing under the leadership of Mele Kyari.
Believe you me, if I have my way, if I'm the one that gives award, I will give Mele Kyari the transparency chairman of the year. Because when you talk of that you want to fight corruption, I don't believe fighting corruption is arresting people and putting them in prison. But when you put in place modalities that will stop people from exercising some of this corrupt art, I think it's the best. If NNPC today, if with this development, I think it's one of the best company in the whole of this country today.
From the foregoing, the acceptance of NNPC as a partner company of EITI will translate to greater transparency and accountability to Nigerians who are the owners of NNPC. That's it on this segment. Stay tuned. Hello and thank you for joining us on this educative segment of the program. My name is Abigail Ojobo. Did you know that pipelines are one of the safest and most efficient shipment methods to transport crude oil, gas, and refined petroleum products? Did you know that filled tank batteries, product bulk terminals, refinery tanks, and holding tanks are some of the ways crude oil and refined products are stored? Did you know that natural gas is generally stored underground until it is ready to be transported to the market because of its large volumes and high pressure? Did you also know that depleted gas reservoir, salt caverns, and aquifers are common natural gas storage facilities? Now you know. Please don't go away.
Hello and welcome to Global Crude Oil Outlook. Oil prices were broadly stable as a massive hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico made landfall in the heart of the United States oil industry, forcing oil rigs and refineries to shut down. Brent crude oil futures for October rose 6 cents or 0.1% to $45.70 per barrel. The more active November Brent contract was virtually flat at $46.17 per barrel. United States West Texas Intermediate WTI crude futures fell 8 cents or 0.2% to $43.31 per barrel. Hurricane Laura made landfall early in southwestern Louisiana as a Category 4 storm, one of the most powerful to hit the state, with forecasters warning it could push a wall of water 40 miles inland from the sea. Meanwhile, Market Intelligence Department of the NNPC's London office reports that oil futures diverged after choppy trading in a narrow range during the week, with investors shrugging off largely bullish data on United States petroleum inventories as Hurricane Laura approached, threatening a large chunk of the country's refining capacity. In its weekly report, the Energy Information Administration (EIA) said commercial crude stocks in the world's largest economy fell by 4.7 million barrels to 507.8 million barrels the week ended August 21. A rise in refinery throughputs and crude exports helped explain the draws, which outperformed many traders' expectations. And that's it on this segment of the program. I am Owigo Okolo.
Now that we are very happy that we have somebody who's the GMD that has a part of EITI at the local and the international level and knows that our work is not against the work of NNPC, that our work is actually complementary.
That's how the oil and gas distribution had been. We hope you found it delightsome. Takeaway, if you must take, is people, profit, partnership, and posterity. That's what GMD Military has said to the industry for greater good in the future. For the rest of us, let's keep the protocol. It's still the season of the new normal. Keep this date next week.